Good day, my name is Dan Barrett, and I am the Vice President of the Greater Toronto Area Council. Today, at the request of one of the locals, we're going to be talking to you a little bit about the structure of the committees and the councils in the Ontario region. Run through a couple of these things and then briefly go through the regional council. Different structures within the area councils, the different components, human rights committees. So essentially, the issue at the local level is trying to get some of the representatives to these bodies, specifically the area council. Each local is entitled to 2 delegates for the first 500, and then every 500 after that, another delegate is allowed. So the area council requirement, it falls out of the PSAC Constitution, and the equity committees, again, they're sort of called up in the Constitution, but they're sort of formed when 3 components or organizations, locals kind of get together from different components. So right now within the Toronto area, we have in addition to the area council, we have a Pride committee that just did the Pride parade the other day there. It's set up to address issues around the LGBT community. There's still a long way to go with some of the issues around safety and security and harassment-free environment that this committee does excellent work with. The committee, again, is specifically closed to members of the LGBT community, but if you are a friend of the LGBT community folks, an invite can be provided to you through the chair. So if you want to reach out and participate in this community to represent yourself or a friend of the community and want to participate that way, again, please reach out to the rep on the for Toronto. It's actually Steve, who's identified on the regional council page. So we have the Racially Visible Action Committee that just did a post event just the other day about International Nelson Mandela Day, endorsing a initiative from the UN where you're being asked to take 67 minutes to help somebody in your community. Looking at the life of Nelson Mandela, where for 67 years he was a labor lawyer and then eventually the president of South Africa. So the efforts to address racism systemically within the South African government was really a model to kind of resolve some of these issues, where you have truth and reconciliation sort of things. And a lot of the initiatives around, Black Lives Matter and things like that, they're coming to the forefront and trying to effectively address some of these longstanding issues of systemic racism that need to be addressed to make our society more equitable and more sustainable in the long run. On the 20th today, we had a meeting of MDAC, that's the Members with Disability Action Committee, and among other things, they're hosting the 12 or 10 passenger van in the Labor Day parade. So that's going to really help us get some members out. They also do some other work around issues and that relate to the medically disabled, access issues. Okay, so this is an upcoming event, September 17th, and sign up by September the 9th. This one is about diabetes, eating well, preventive stuff. Eileen Duncan, former member, she's now the APSAR, that's the folks who are retired public servants, and she's, as the vice president there, she's going to come out and talk a little bit of diabetes, what to eat, what to watch for, that kind of stuff. And so that's a pretty good example of how the regional committees can address some of the issues around that are important to members. For example, with disabilities, there's a lot of folks who want to avoid getting diabetes, and others want to manage it. So good thing to do. Again, September the 9th, register for this one, strongly recommended. So the Toronto Regional Women's Committee, they meet every couple of months and address stuff related to the Women's Committee. And again, a lot of these initiatives revolve around pre-existing dates and actions that are occurring, around violence against women, access to child services, that kind of stuff. So their meetings are primarily intended for women only, and that allows for a safe environment to discuss issues that speak to the Women's Caucus, which is fairly large within PSAC in the Toronto area. So they're a pretty good, pretty active group there, and strongly encouraged to engage with them as much as possible. A lot of these equity issues, like you're talking about women's issues, but really and truly these issues, a lot of them deal with all of us, whether it's to do with daycare or any of the other sort of issues of violence against women. These are social issues. They deal with all of us, and it's incumbent on us to kind of get involved to make sure that our society is viable, that we don't slip back, lose some of the gains that have accrued through time. And it's also important that you follow some of the interests that you have, so you're aware, informed of what's going on in relation to some of the activity. So when we're talking about the Regional Council, they have a number of members there. So as an overview, you have more or less the executive folks up here, RVP and the alternate RVP, the regional reps, the equity reps, and then the other structures, the directly chartered locals, area councils. Starting off with the chair is Sharon D'Souza, who is the Regional Executive Vice President for Ontario. Bob Black, who also is the Area Council Chair for Hamilton. Travis from the Northeast. Dana also from the Northeast. Grant from the Eastern area, as well as Richard McNeil. From the Southwest, we have Mike and Melanie. And from the GTA, we have Ryan and Claudia. These are our actual regional reps on council, so if there are issues in the region that you're trying to get addressed, you can contact them directly from the PSAC. From Region 6, Isabel represents the Hamilton folks in Niagara. Then the Regional Women's Committee is Missy Taylor. Under the Aboriginal members, Sheila is our Aboriginal member. Members with Disability is Suad. She's also the chair of the Toronto MDAC committee. Racially Visible is Lloyd Brown. For Pride, Steve is the chair of that committee. He's also the rep on the Regional Council. Now, area councils themselves also have a rep in Debbie Willett, so if there's an issue with the area council that you need to address, you can also address it through Debbie. So there's directly chartered locals. There's two directly chartered locals in the GTA, and one of them actually deals with some of the folks over in the slots area, and the other one is, and there's a separate representative for this one, directly on Choco for academic workers, and that's our folks out in the Oshawa area. We also have a rep on council for regionally based separate employers, and last but not least, the young workers rep. So all these folks together make up regional council, and they get together quarterly to make sure that issues are moving forward and that the region is operating in an effective way to engage our members. So in closing, I just wanted to encourage you to get involved with the area council or one of the equity committees and make your voice matter more. Thank you.